Hello, viewers of Spell, and welcome to the Spellry, where the only commenter I've regularly had on the channel decided that what if Deku's parents were villains would be a better than Sacred Sword, or at least more enjoyable. To be fair, I'm going to be doing part 1 of Sacred Sword next week, because, I like that one. And I've thought about a bunch of stuff for it. Without further ado, let's begin. The image appears fuzzy, as we see a young boy being told that he didn't have a quirk. As he walked away, he remembered his mother, giving him a smirk and saying, "We'll fix this." Being a child, he didn't know what that meant. His dad was always away from home, came back. We then flashed to some time later, where they were asking a man who was wearing a mask if he was sure that this should work. The man nodded yes. He brought a syringe and injected the boy. Roaring power filled him. As we would then see our protagonist, Midoriya, wake up with a start. His colored raven black hair with 2 horns coming out of it as he would jump up. As we would see a girl saying, "Big brother! Were you having a bad dream again?" As we saw a little girl with a singular horn on her head, looking at him with white hair. He said, "No, I was just having a bad dream. No problem. Okay. Go play Airy." Okay. As she hurried off. Midoriya would look up and just sigh. It's almost been 10 years. Sit up and look around. The room was relatively clean. There were only a few hero posters, a sword, and a desk with many pieces of paper on it. As Midoriya got up, he would remember what the dream was about. His parents, not exactly being on the right sides of the law, after discovering he was quirkless, would approach an up-and-coming individual within the Yakuza who was known for doing research on quirks. And he did. He came up with a cocktail to awaken the individual's latent quirk potential. It was super effective. It gave Midoriya multiple quirks, in fact. The problem is, the doctor didn't take into account a couple things. One of which being, gene modding was a delicate and oftentimes unpredictable art. And the fact that he was using it on a 5-year-old child. Midoriya unknowingly had a light case of the flu at the time. And when the two mixed, it produced something that most people would refer to as horrifying. The quirk plague. Or the second quirk boom. It had spread and even jumped species multiple times. It awakened any potential latent quirk. Luckily, it didn't affect humans too badly. But, as Midoriya walked to his window and pushed back the blinds, part of an abandoned city is visible. Plants and what seems to be animals flying. They didn't appear to be birds. They seemed to be something else. While carnivorous plants grew on some of the buildings. It had nearly destroyed the world. Or, at least, as far as little Midoriya was concerned, the world. And was part of the reason why he hadn't seen his parents in years. As he would get to the desk and pull out his phone, he saw something from one of his friends. Bago Katsuki. Midoriya still called him Kachan. As it said, "Hey, the hag wanted you to swing by. We know you can take care of yourself, but she's still technically your legal guardian. And stop worrying her." Damn Deku. Midoriya sighed. It had almost been a month since he had seen the Bakugos, and it was only a couple weeks until the UA entrance exam. Midoriya hopped up and checked his clothes. Midoriya would get changed with red shoes, green pants, and a white t-shirt. As he would walk out, seeing Eri looking through the mini fridge looking for some food. Midoriya would walk up and pull down the cereal for her as she pulled out some milk. Midoriya would help her pour it out before getting a call. Midoriya would answer it, as the voice on the other line would say, "We have a group of teenagers who decide to go into the disaster zone. We need you to retrieve them." As Midoriya sighed, he would ensure Eri had the stuff and set up what was, for all intents and purposes, an online class. Before he would grab his sword and tell Eri he would be back soon. As he would step out, as he would rush off, muscles underneath his t-shirt tensing, as he started parkouring on buildings, as we'd see a cat with a pair of wings, as we'd see Midoriya rushing to where he heard some shouts. Midoriya would see the people and sigh. It was just a group of 2, probably thrill seekers. As he would see that they were being cornered by some carnivorous plants. Midoriya would jump down, lighting his black fire, as he ran it down his arms and used it to destroy several vines reaching for the people. As the plant seemed to recede before attacking again, Midoriya would bring out his sword and start slashing, as what appeared to be the main body of the plant would puff up and try shooting acid at him. He would raise up his hand as the black fire that had been around his sword would go there and explode in brilliance. As the acid would hit it, it would disperse like it hit a solid object. Before Midoriya would bring his sword back, tense his muscles, and shoot forward, stabbing deep into the creature and running his fire into it. As the creature would quickly thrash around before exploding into black fire. As Midoriya would pull out his sword and look back at the 2 people he had rescued. It was a man and a woman. Midoriya sighed and told the people to follow him. He had been hired to retrieve them. As he would lead the people out, several other creatures would be seen. A snake as large as a boa constrictor in purple. A few large spiders. And even a couple oversized bats. They seemingly did not want to pick a fight with Midoriya, as he brought them out. As a man with a long scarf and a cigarette would walk up and say, "Good job, Oni." As Midoriya looked at him and said, "I need that money." As the man would pull it out and said, "What, you don't want to save him out of your good of your heart?" As Midoriya said, "You know as well as anyone that goodwill doesn't pay the bills." As the man handed him the money, Midoriya would nod. As the man would just say, "Ever since you showed up, we've been able to actually... No one's died on the tour of the exclusion zone." As Midoriya said, "Well, get used to not having me around. I'm going to be going off to school soon." As the man paused and would just say, "Seriously?" As Midoriya said, "Yep. Though I guess I can help out every once in a while." As Midoriya began walking away, he would wave and just say, "By the way, maybe you should make sure the people don't wander off next time." For Midoriya would disappear behind a corner. The man would tisk before walking away. As Midoriya remembered back and would think, I wonder what my parents would think of me. After all, they aren't around anymore. As Midoriya would get home, he would see Eri finishing up her schoolwork. As Midoriya would just say, "Hey, Eri, we're gonna go to the Bakugo's." As Eri would look at her and say, "Oh, to see Explosion Man?" Midoriya would pause and try not to laugh. As he said, "Yeah, we're gonna go see Explosion Man." As he would put his hand on her hair and shake it. As they would leave their abandoned apartment and venture out of the exclusion zone. Passing a nearly 40-foot tall wire fence with an at least 5-foot tall concrete base. As Midoriya would simply go to a spot and get out of it. Evidently, the spot hadn't been maintained in a while, since there was a tree growing through it. As he would take Eri to the Bakugo's, and Bakugo would challenge Midoriya to a fight. I do sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. If you like more content like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Along with hitting the notification bell if you want to listen to What If Midoriya Had the Sacred Sword. Tune in next week, and if this video does decent, the week after that will probably be another part of this, or a compilation of What If Midoriya Was a D&D Sorcerer. Hope you enjoy, and hope to see you around the channel.